Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Life Inspirations with Ru and Raz. We're so excited for our topic, looking at where we left off from last time.
Yeah.
So, we decided that we want to talk about marriage red flags.
Yeah.
Because people always talk about the red flags in, dating and looking for someone to get married to. So now we're going to talk about marriage red flags.
Yeah.
Why marriage red flags? Because sometimes people in marriages ignore little things that end up being big things if you don't address them, and then before you know it, your marriage is in trouble. So before you get there, we just want to talk about this is not all the red flags, but it's just stuff that was right on the top of our heads. So we're going to touch on a few red flags. We'll have two parts to this topic. So we're just going to jump right to it.
That's it.
So the first red flag we're going to talk about is if you find yourself talking about your spouse, talking bad about your spouse, and you have no problem talking bad about your spouse to anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's fine if you're within the space of a counselor or therapy or someone that you know that you confide in and they give you constructive criticism. But if you are finding yourself in a situation where anyone and everyone that is willing to hear you've got nothing good to say about your spouse, that is a red flag because it says something about how you feel about your spouse and you have not addressed those things. And so you need to get to a place where you are not comfortable speaking badly about your spouse. And if you are comfortable speaking badly about your spouse, then you need to examine the state of your marriage, the state of your relationship, and ask yourself why you are comfortable to speak badly about the person that you love, the person that you live with in the same house. It probably means there's some unresolved issues that you haven't attended to, and it's not okay. Because some people think it's okay. Like you sit in a crowd or in a group with five, six people, and everyone's just talking bad about their spouses or they're talking bad about their husbands or wives, and you jump right in there and you also start speaking bad. It's not okay and it's not good. It doesn't seed positive things into your marriage. It only seeds negativity into your marriage. It doesn't build, it breaks down. It breaks up things. It doesn't build up things. So if you find yourself getting carried away in conversations, speaking badly about your spouse, you need to reevaluate the state of your marriage and what you need to do to work on to fix in terms of the issues that you're having within the person that you love, the person who's your life partner, the father or mother of your children and your best friend, because relationships are not a battleground. Relationships, marriages are somewhere where you grow, you develop, you do things together, you love, you enjoy. So yeah, that's my first red flag.
Yeah. I think just to comment on that and add a bit of a caveat, if you are in a counseling session, I think that is a safe space, and I don't think it should be looked at as talking bad. I think it's just bringing out issues that are that you're experiencing. So I'd put a special caveat in that if this is a person that you're confiding in, it's a safe space, and you're literally just saying this is what is going on. I think that's a caveat I want to add. But just in general, you finding yourself jumping onto the bandwagon, being able to just open your mouth and say, my wife is like this, my husband is like this. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You are also agreeing to that negativity, and you are sort of making it into a stronghold. So I really think that that to me is a very big red flag. In that you're not helping the scenario. You're actually making it worse by reaffirming it by the word of your mouth, right? And on my side, what I would bring out as a top red flag to me, or a warning sign, is when your priorities are in disarray. And by priorities being in disarray, I speak of the priority of a family being, in my perspective, that God is first, my wife comes next, my family, my immediate kids kids that are born out of me or out of my wife are next, and then the level after that is my parents, siblings, and my wife's by my parents I mean both my wife and my own parents and my siblings, and that's across the two families. So if you then find yourself having one of those priorities encroaching the other one, you are putting your family's needs or your siblings' needs over your wife. You are putting the opinions of your family and your other people over that of your wife, because the Bible says the two of you, and I'm paraphrasing, have become one. And another verse says, "What God has put together, no person should put asunder." So for me, that is a big red flag. If I start taking people's opinions, people's decisions, or taking decisions for and on behalf of my family without consulting you, and not having my priorities in that right format of saying, first it's my relationship with God, and secondly it's my relationship with you, and then with the kids, and then everyone else. So for me, that's a bit of a red flag. If that scenario, you find yourself in a scenario where those priorities are not set straight.
Yeah, I agree. And this one is a big one, and it's actually a very deep one because there's so many things that can take your priorities without you even realizing it. And the moment, like I've read somewhere, I think we've talked about it, where there is a hierarchy of priorities,
Yes.
which at first is God. And then second is your wife,
Spouse.
your spouse. And then third is church or whatever activities that you have in church. Am I right? And then,
It's your family and then church.
yeah, your family and then church.
And by church,
And
it's
then
ministry as
it's
well.
ministry.
Yeah.
And then everything else. And in that hierarchy, what that basically means is that it's God, only God is the only one that is above your spouse. The moment that you decided that you're getting married and you're with this person, only God, not work, not ministry
Friends.
commitments,
Yeah.
not friends, not your extended family, not even extended, but like your siblings, not your parents. It's your spouse first, and not your kids. And that one is the one that actually sneaks up on a lot of
Yeah.
people, because a lot of people always want to put the kids before the spouse.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in a position where you are prioritizing the comfort of your kids over the comfort of your spouse, assuming that your spouse is not abusive or anything like that, then you might be in trouble, because this will encroach in your relationship as husband and wife, this very intimate relationship, because now you're bringing the kids in the middle of an intimate relationship, which is just the two of you, because before there were the kids, it was the two of you. And a lot of people have actually grown apart because of the kids, and yet the kids came after the two of you. So when the kids leave the house, the two of you don't know each other.
Strangers.
And by then it's already late. So it's very important to understand that your spouse must always come what must come second after God. So, and also I'll just address this quickly as well, where people are like, you're in competition with your mother-in-law, the wife is in competition with the mother-in-law, or the father is in competition with the husband is in competition with the father-in-law. It can't be, because the nature of the relationship is completely different. You can't, for me, it has never made sense that my relationship with my husband can be compared with his relationship with his mom. It can never be, because they are two completely different relationships. Where the relationships are parallel to each other, but they're not on the same.
And the word of God also says, the man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. So the definition of cleaving is literally being inseparable, right? So coming back to, nothing should put us asunder, nothing should separate us. I should never have to compare myself to anyone in your family, and you should never have to compare yourself with anyone in my family. There's that position of having my priorities move from God and then my family moved away the moment I get married.
Yeah.
When I got married, that priority changed.
Yeah.
It became God. It still is God.
Yeah.
And then the person that I'm now joined together as one. So to me, that's a bit of a red flag. It opens up to quite a lot of things. You start hearing people saying they address each other using the kids, and so red flags are warning signs.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to say is, if you see that encroaching in your marriage, it's a warning sign that you need to address.
100%. And just one more on that, because
Yeah.
that is a long, I mean, this priority thing is really an issue. And it's something that if you're not careful and you're not paying and you're not being deliberate about this thing, because you can take for granted the person that you are married to. So you feel like you don't need to show them that they're the most important person in your life, because you need to play to your parents, you need to play to the kids, you need to play to work to show them that you're the best employee, and you take for granted the person that is the closest person to you, the person that you committed to, the person that you do life with. And that is a red flag. That is going to get your marriage into trouble.
Yeah.
And you need to address that very importantly. Another one is when it comes to the kids, if at any point, and I must say, my husband's very good at this, if at any point, there's a situation where the kids may be, I wouldn't say disrespecting, but questioning or anything like that, questioning the other one,
Yeah.
You should never pick the side of the child.
Yeah.
That is a no. That is an absolute no. They should never, even if you don't understand the discipline that's happening between the child and that parent, it's better you walk away.
Correct.
And then you'll talk about it.
It sets a very bad tone to the child that in any scenario I could actually side with you, and in that moment we're saying my partner is being unreasonable, or my wife is being unreasonable, or they're not addressing this well. And how I take it is, in that moment I will take your side. If there's something that you're doing incorrect about dealing with that scenario, I'll tell you on our own,
Yeah.
without the child being there. Because once I open that, we all have a fallen nature, and the kids that we're raising, even though we're raising them up in God, they also have their little quirks that they have to deal with. But the moment I open up to that I can actually take your side, and your mom is wrong, even if the mom is wrong,
Not in front of the kids.
it leads to an opening in the marriage, and I am intentionally putting us asunder. So I would rather than deal or speak to you or deal with the matter at a later stage, but away from the kid.
Yeah.
And the kid always sees that we are a united force. That's
Always.
it.
Always. If I could do this is when I would do never criticize your spouse in front of the kids. It's just
Anyone.
in front of anyone. Yeah. But people think if it's in front of the kids, then it's okay, or you're getting points with your kids. It just creates issues in your marriage that you don't want. You already have decided that between the two of you, you are not one. You've already decided that. So that's just, it needs to be addressed in depth. If this is what you're facing, this is what you're dealing with. We'll go ahead and go into the next red flag, which kind of piggybacks off of what we're talking about, and that's if you're not spending quality time alone as husband and wife, that is a red flag. Please correct it like tomorrow. Because especially when you have kids, when you have kids and you have demanding jobs and you have so many other responsibilities on a day-to-day, probably most couples on a day-to-day, you probably don't get more than 3 hours.
Correct.
2 to 3 hours a day, but it's not even 2 to 3 hours of seeing each other properly. It's 2 to 3 hours of house things. It's 2 to 3 hours of what did the kids do? What did the teachers say? What, the kids, did you pay for this? I got an email from so-and-so. He said, we need to be doing this. Something happened in the house. It's, that's what the 2 to 3 hours is
It's
about.
2 to 3 hours of doing life.
Yes, of doing
Yes,
life.
in general,
Yeah.
you're not communicating, you're not spending quality time, you're not connecting from a husband and wife perspective, and that is a very key one. I'm sorry I jumped into your
No, it's fine.
into your point there, because I really feel strongly for that one, because once the two of you spend enough quality time together, nothing actually can come in between the two of you. You are connected. You are aligned. In those moments, and it can be anything. It can be you sitting and having dinner. It can be you going out and having date night. It can be you going out for a walk.
Yeah.
What you're doing there is you're connecting, you're discussing whatever the decisions that needs to be made, the points for, the points against. By the time something is done, both of you are aligned and in this together, such that the ability, or sorry, the possibility of questioning someone else's judgment and motive and whatever when a decision's been made or when an action has been taken, you're actually taking that away, because you're operating at the same wavelength. I don't know if I can say you're
Yeah.
operating,
Yeah. I'm the
or
same.
you are in the wavelength,
Yeah.
in the same wavelength. That's the best thing,
Yeah.
best analogy that can come to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's like when you take that, you can't take it for granted. I suggest that you challenge yourself if you're in a marriage relationship and you don't take that quality time. Like you said, it doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It really is just quality time away. It is so important. You just reconnect. You appeal to that thing that that connected you guys together when
Yeah.
it was just the two of you before you had kids. You will remember, oh, he's actually a funny guy, because when you're doing life, there's no time for silly jokes, there's no
Yeah.
time for just being boyfriend and girlfriend, because you're doing life. But when you take the time to just step outside of that, especially I can speak for women and moms, this will do so much for you, for your relationship, because every day at the end of the day you've got mental list that's going on. What do the kids do today? What do I need to do for the kids tomorrow? What do the kids have tomorrow? What do I need to pack? What do I need to remember? By the way, what email did they send at school again? These are the lists that are constantly running. What are the people? What are we eating today? What does he need? These are lists that are constantly running all the time, whether you like it or not. So when you take that time out, you actually block out those lists, you block out those things that take your attention from having your heart open to receive the love that he'll be giving you in that moment. And that constantly rekindles the love, the affection, the romance in your marriage. Like, you just be sitting there and you don't understand why your marriage is cold.
Yeah.
It's something as simple as going and spending quality time together, just taking a walk, in the evenings or in the morning or on a Saturday morning. Just take time to have quality time, and don't worry about the kids. You set the tone for what the kids can accept.
Correct.
Don't ever feel bad. Oh, but we're leaving the kids. We're leaving the kids. The kids are fine. They have no problem. And kids need to grow up seeing that my mom and dad
Yeah. And the more
love
you
each
do
other.
it, the more they actually understand. Where you guys going? Oh, we're going on a date. Oh, where you guys going? We're going on a walk.
Yeah.
Can we come? No, this is a mommy and daddy walk. It takes 2-3 times for them to actually understand. Oh, okay, our parents actually do this. But I think to cap this point, I was at a wedding last week Sunday, and I remember the father of the groom stating this to his son, and it really did something to me. And he kept saying, I'm telling you this, and I'm going to tell you this every time I see you. Never stop dating your wife. Never stop dating your wife. And I really thought about this, even that at the time that we were dating. A date did not include spending all the time. A date could be just, let's just go and sit somewhere in a park and, I don't know, talk. A date could be, let's walk in the park, let's do. And I think those are the things that, and this is a guy, by the way, who's, I think they were saying he had been married for about 30 something years. So this is talking from experience, right? And it actually does something to just relieve off that life pressures that you have, and just take a moment to enjoy the wife of your youth, just enjoy the person that God has entrusted you with. Yeah. And from my side, I think I'll move to the next red flag, and this one's a bit of a biggie. It's just dishonesty in general. Just dishonesty. It could be me being comfortable to be dishonest to other people in your presence, being dishonest without you being there, because sooner or later I'm going to become very confident that I can actually be dishonest with you. I can lie, I can cheat, and I'm not saying lying and cheating from a matrimonial bed perspective, but just in general. That is bad, and a bad environment, and I think a lot of things can come out of that. So it's a big red flag for me if you start seeing your partner being dishonest with their finances, dishonest in their social life, dishonest in who they tell you they hang out with, and like you'd never want to be in a position where you start playing detective. And that to me is a big red flag. Once you start seeing that, you then have to address it.
Yeah.
And if you are not able to address it, this is one that actually needs professional counselors, that you actually go and sit before someone and have whatever that's causing that dishonesty be addressed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I agree. Like, I can bring it home, or bring it home closer to when we're talking about marriage, is being secretive, not feeling like you're a team. So basically feeling like, she shouldn't know or he shouldn't know how much money I get paid. Yeah, because if he knows how much money I get paid, then he'll want it. Or, he should, I'm not going to tell her where I'm going. Why should she know where I'm going? But what are you being secretive about? Like, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily cheating, but what is that thing that makes you feel like you shouldn't just be open and honest about where you are, what you do, how much money you make. Those are red flags. That really is a problem, because then small things become big things, become bigger things. And if you're from the other side, like if you're, as women in general, the moment they pick up a sniff, a small sniff of deception, they then think that you are deceptive about everything. They're suspicious about everything that you do. And it just creates a rift, an unnecessary rift in the marriage. And basically you are not, you are not being united. And unity is so important. It is key. This has got to be my number one person. He has to know everything about me. If there's something about me that I don't feel comfortable with him knowing, that's a red flag. And I need to either deal with myself or deal with what caused this lack of trust. Why don't I trust him with information? Why don't I trust him? You need to deal with that, because that is a red flag that is going to explode. So you need to deal with it. You need to address it. And yeah, I think that's all I have on that.
Yeah. No, I think that's this part of this video. We're going to do another episode where we just, I think, give final red flags. Like we said, this is not the exhaustive list of red flags. These are just things that we should be looking out for. And if ever their head is rearing up somewhere, it needs to be addressed and cut off, because that has the ability to hinder the joy that you're supposed to experience in your marriage and in your union. So we will be back in a few moments with the second and final video of the red flags. So stay tuned and look out for the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Bye.